Steve, okay, so I was at the airport yesterday and I literally told the agent, please forgive my luggage weight.
Wait, you said please forgive my luggage weight to the check-in agent?
Yeah, I was totally panicking because my suitcase was so heavy and I just completely froze up.
Oh no, that sounds like a dramatic movie. Did they look at you funny?
They stared right at me. Wait, is that wrong?
Yes. A native speaker would just say, "Sorry, I think my bag is overweight," and leave it there.
If you have ever stood at the airport counter, sweating over your heavy suitcase and completely forgetting your vocabulary, that is exactly what we are fixing today.
By the way, welcome to Steve and Abby English. I am Steve.
And I'm Abby.
And hey, if today's topic has a lot of fast back and forth, grab the free transcript in the description. Reading along while you listen is honestly one of the fastest ways to lock in these everyday phrases.
It really does help so much.
You know, airports are honestly one of the most stressful places to actually practice your English.
Totally. You are already tired. You are probably running late. And suddenly you have to answer quick questions about security or luggage fees.
Exactly. And the agents are always rushing. They have hundreds of people in line behind you. They use these very specific everyday phrases that you just do not learn in a normal textbook.
Right. And when you are just trying to get your ticket and find your gate, your mind goes completely blank. I hear from so many of our listeners that the airport is their absolute biggest fear when traveling.
It might feel challenging at first, but that is completely normal. Do not be hard on yourself. Travel vocabulary is mostly about muscle memory, and it takes time to build that up. Plus, the environment is just loud and chaotic.
I definitely need that muscle memory for sure. Because honestly, the check-in counter is my worst nightmare. I always bring way too much stuff, and I am always worried they are going to charge me a crazy extra fee.
Oh, I know. Just a small backpack.
Never. I always think I might need 4 different pairs of shoes for a quick weekend trip.
That is way too many shoes. It is no wonder you get stressed.
All right, let us get into our first real talk. This one is actually from a total airport disaster that happened to me last year, and it involves a very public unpacking moment on the floor. So I was flying to Chicago for my cousin's wedding last winter. I was feeling pretty good about myself because I actually left my apartment on time for once. I walked right into the terminal, found the baggage drop area, and saw that the line was absolutely massive. It snaked around the corner.
Classic holiday travel chaos.
Exactly. I waited for maybe 45 minutes. Anyway, I finally get to the front desk, and I swing my huge, heavy blue suitcase onto the metal scale. I was just holding my breath and hoping it would magically be under the 50-pound limit.
That is always such a tense moment. You just watch the red numbers going up and up, hoping they stop at 49.
Yes, but the numbers did not stop. It finally landed on 62 pounds. The ticket agent just looked at me with a totally straight face and said, "Your bag is way overweight. You can pay the fee, or you have to take things out."
Yikes, damage control time.
I know. I asked her politely how much the extra fee was, and she told me it was $150. I could not believe my ears. That felt like such a huge ripoff just for a few extra winter items.
$150 is crazy. I had a similar issue last month, and I totally refused to pay. I would unpack too.
That is exactly what I decided to do. I dragged my heavy suitcase off the scale and laid it completely flat on the dirty airport floor. I was unzipping it in a total panic, and suddenly, All my socks, my curling iron, and bulky winter sweaters spilled out.
Oh my gosh, a total public nightmare.
Ugh, it was so deeply embarrassing. People were walking past me and staring. The family directly behind me in line started sighing really loudly. I was starting to sweat because I knew I was going to hold up the line for everyone else.
That is the worst feeling. You feel so incredibly guilty because everyone is just glaring at you while they are forced to wait.
Yes, it is the worst. I absolutely hate feeling like an inconvenience to strangers. I was frantically trying to shove these 3 thick wool sweaters into my tiny carry-on backpack.
Let me guess, the backpack was already full.
Of course it was. It was already completely stuffed with my heavy laptop, a giant water bottle, and a bunch of road trip snacks. Nothing was fitting at all. I even tried to put one of the sweaters on over my jacket.
You definitely did not pack light this time.
Not even a little bit. I am just not someone who can pack light. I always convince myself that I might need a completely different outfit for every single hour of the day. It is such a terrible travel habit.
I know you love having clothing options, but that strategy really backfired on you today. Wearing 2 thick sweaters in the airport sounds truly miserable.
It really did backfire. I was sweating through my clothes. So after about 10 minutes of struggling on the floor and feeling the heavy judgment of the entire line, I just gave up.
Wow, you fully surrendered.
I had to. I shoved everything back into the giant suitcase, sat on it to zip it closed, and just handed the agent my credit card for the crazy fee. But hold on. Before we go any further, you just heard me use some really helpful phrases there. Let us get right into our Real Talk breakdown.
Welcome to our first Real Talk breakdown. Your story was so stressful, but full of completely natural English. The first phrase I want to highlight is when you called the heavy bag fee a ripoff.
Yes, a ripoff. We use this noun phrase constantly. Instead of using a formal, robotic textbook sentence like, "The price is unfairly high," we just say, "It is a ripoff." It carries a strong feeling of frustration. You feel like a company is tricking you into paying way too much money for something simple.
Exactly. It shows real, honest emotion. You sound much more human when you use it. For example, I bought a simple sandwich at the airport for $18, and it was a total ripoff.
Or you could use it like this. Do not buy your souvenirs at that hotel gift shop. It is a massive ripoff.
Great examples. The next one is hold up the line. You said you were sweating because you were going to hold up the line with your heavy suitcase.
We use the phrasal verb hold up to mean delay. The vibe here is honestly all about social guilt. When you hold up the line, you are the reason people behind you cannot move forward. It is much more casual and natural than saying, "I am causing a delay."
Right. Saying you are causing a delay sounds like a robot. Using hold up makes you sound friendly and conversational. It might feel a bit challenging to remember these multi-word verbs at first, but that is completely normal. Do not be hard on yourself. Muscle memory takes time. My example would be, I could not find my boarding pass on my phone, and I held up the whole security line.
And my everyday example is, please have your credit card ready to pay so we do not hold up the line at the morning coffee shop.
Very relatable. Okay, the last phrase is pack light. I teased you earlier about this because of your huge blue suitcase.
That is putting it nicely. To pack light simply means to travel with very few items, usually just a small backpack. The emotion behind this phrase is feeling very carefree and easygoing. It is the exact opposite of my heavy suitcase nightmare.
It really is a fantastic everyday phrase. For my example, I would say, I am only going to New York for 2 days, so I am going to pack light.
And for my sentence, if we're taking the train across Europe, we really need to pack light.
Perfect. Remember, using these simple phrases instantly makes you sound more relaxed. Okay, now that we have got those words down, let us look at the flip side in real talk too. Alright, so my story is actually from a trip to London last year. I am usually a very organized traveler. I had my shopping receipts neatly folded in a plastic envelope because I wanted to claim my duty-free tax refund before flying home to the States.
Oh, you are perfectly organized.
I really try my best to be ready for anything. I got to the airport 3 hours early, thinking I would drop off the paperwork and relax with a book. I walked up to the customs desk fully expecting to just breeze through the process in about 5 minutes.
Let me guess, it was not a quick breeze. Tax refund desks are notorious for being totally understaffed and moving so incredibly slow.
Not even close. I turned the corner and saw that the line for the tax refund was literally stretching all the way down the massive terminal hallway. And to make things miserable, there was only one single tired customs agent working at the desk.
Oh no, that is the worst sight.
It was completely brutal. The agent was checking every single printed receipt so slowly, verifying every little detail. I was standing there watching the minutes tick by on the wall clock. I had fully planned to breeze through security and sit down for a nice breakfast, but that plan was officially ruined.
I would be panicking so much. I always worry about missing my international flight when I'm stuck in an unexpected line. The anxiety gets so overwhelming. Did you think about just giving up and walking away?
I seriously considered it. I kept nervously checking my watch. 1 full hour passed, then an hour and a half. I was literally doing the math in my head, calculating how much cash I was getting back versus the absolute disaster of missing my flight home.
Total panic and stress mode.
Exactly. I finally realized I was only getting about $40 back. I was standing there sweating, wondering if $40 was genuinely worth all this intense anxiety. But I had already waited for almost 2 hours, so I felt like I could not just bail on the line now.
I know that exact feeling. You invest so much time waiting there that you feel totally trapped. You just have to see it through to the bitter end.
That was my exact logic. Finally, after 1 hour and 50 minutes, I reached the front desk. The agent slowly stamped my papers, handed me my small stack of cash, and barely even looked up at me.
Finally, a sweet, hard-earned victory.
A very stressful victory. The second I felt the cash in my hand, I grabbed my carry-on bag and looked at the departure screen. My flight was boarding in exactly 20 minutes. I did not even stop to put my wallet away properly. I just knew I had to head to my gate immediately.
Run, Steve! Run for your life!
I practically sprinted through the entire duty-free zone. I was dodging slow walkers, jumping over rolling luggage, and speed walking on those flat airport escalators. I finally made it to the correct gate right as they called my boarding group on the loudspeaker.
I am exhausted just listening to that.
It was such a close call. I collapsed into my airplane seat, completely sweaty and out of breath, just holding my $40. Next time, I think I will happily skip the tax refund entirely and head straight to a quiet coffee shop instead.
That is such a totally different vibe from my baggage story, but honestly, just as stressful. But wait, I heard you drop some interesting everyday phrases. Time for our second Real Talk breakdown.
Welcome back. Your story was stressful, but filled with great conversational vocabulary. The first phrase I want to focus on is breeze through. I said I was expecting to just breeze through the process at the customs desk.
Yes, to breeze through something. We use this phrasal verb to describe a state of doing an activity easily, with absolutely zero resistance. It feels fast and effortless. Instead of using a boring formal phrase like, "I will complete this without difficulty," we say breeze through to give it a light, easy energy.
Exactly. It paints a perfect picture in your mind. Using these colorful phrases might feel strange at first, but that is completely normal. Do not be hard on yourself. For my everyday example, I studied all weekend, so I breezed through my math exam.
That is a great one. And for my example, we left the house really early, so we just breezed through the morning traffic and got to the office.
Perfect. Okay, the second phrase I want to highlight is bail on. I mentioned that after waiting for 2 hours, I felt like I could not just bail on the line.
To bail on something, or someone, means to abandon a plan or give up before it is finished. The emotion here is usually a mix of guilt and relief. It is much more natural than formally saying, "I am going to cancel our prior arrangement."
It really is. It sounds very casual and honest. My everyday example would be, I was feeling totally exhausted after work, so I decided to bail on my gym class and just fall asleep on the couch with the television on.
We have all been there. My example is, "Please do not bail on me this weekend because I really need your help painting my living room. I cannot do it alone."
I promise I will not bail on you. All right, our final expression today is a close call. At the end of my story, I said making my flight was a close call.
A close call describes a situation where something bad almost happened, but you barely escaped it. You usually feel a huge rush of relief. Instead of saying, "I narrowly avoided a negative outcome," which sounds like a news reporter, you just say, "It was a close call."
It adds so much drama to your story. For my example, I dropped my phone on the concrete, but the screen did not break. It was a really close call. I got lucky.
And my sentence is, "I almost burned the dinner in the oven, but I smelled the smoke and caught it right in time. What a close call."
We have covered some great expressions today, but there are a few sneaky traps you need to watch out for. Let us jump into common mistakes and make sure you do not get them wrong. Now, let us talk about where people usually get this wrong. These everyday phrases are super useful, but they come with a few sneaky common traps.
They really do. Let us look at our first mistake. This happens a lot with the phrasal verb hold up. The trap is saying, "I am holding the line."
Oh, I hear that one a lot from our listeners.
The fix is, "I am holding up the line." You absolutely must include the word up.
Exactly. Without the word up, holding the line means you are on a telephone call waiting for someone. Adding up changes it to mean causing a frustrating delay.
That makes perfect sense. Okay, what is the second trap today?
The second mistake involves rip-off. The trap is saying, "That price ripped me out."
Yes, that is a trap. The correct fix is, "That price is a rip-off."
Right. You have to use off instead of out. Ripped out means physically tearing a page from a book. Ripped off means someone is unfairly overcharging you.
Such a helpful difference to know, especially when shopping. Our third trap is about bail on. People often say, "I had to bail out my weekend plans."
That is a very tricky mistake, but very common.
Yes, definitely. The correct fix is, "I had to bail on my weekend plans."
Right. If you bail out your friend, it usually means you paid money to get them out of jail. To just cancel normal dinner plans, you must use bail on.
Okay, let us do a quick rapid review to lock these in. Do not say holding the line. Say holding up the line.
Do not say ripped me out. Say it is a rip-off.
Do not say bailed out my plans. Say bailed on my plans.
And that is how you avoid those traps. But how does real spoken English compare to what you learned in school? Let us check out textbook versus real life. Textbook English is 100% understandable, so do not be hard on yourself. But learning these casual phrases helps you sound much more natural and relaxed. Let us look at 5 examples. Number 1. The textbook sentence is, "I brought too many clothes."
And the real-life version is, I did not pack light.
Saying you did not pack light sounds more like a seasoned traveler sharing a story. Number 2. The textbook version is, "I am going to abandon this line."
The real-life version is, I'm going to bail on this line.
Using bail on carries that casual feeling of giving up when you are just exhausted. Number 3. The textbook sentence is, "The extra luggage fee is unfairly expensive."
In real life, we say, the extra luggage fee is a total rip-off.
Rip-off shows your honest emotional annoyance instead of just coldly stating a basic math fact. Number 4. The textbook says, "I am making the other people wait behind me."
The real-life expression is, I am holding up the line.
Holding up the line is the absolute universal way native speakers express this specific type of social guilt. Number 5. Our final textbook sentence is, "I almost missed my flight."
The real spoken version is, it was a really close call.
Close call is much shorter and perfectly captures that sweaty, panicked feeling at the airport. All right, you have heard us talk enough today. It is time to build that muscle memory. Let us jump into the shadowing practice. Before we begin, here is a quick pro tip. Hit the pause button after each sentence. Repeat it out loud at your own pace to build muscle memory.
Our first sentence is about money. Use this when someone is charging you way too much for something basic. Listen and repeat.
That is a total rip-off.
That is a total rip-off. Moving on to the second one. Use this sentence when you are packing a small bag for a short weekend trip. Here we go.
I always try to pack light.
I always try to pack light. And our final expression is about delays. Use this when you organize your wallet quickly at the cash register. Listen and repeat.
I do not want to hold up the line.
I do not want to hold up the line.
Great job today. Let us wrap things up with some final thoughts. The biggest takeaway today is that you do not need big, complicated textbook words to sound fluent at the airport. Using simple, everyday phrases like rip-off will instantly make your English sound more natural.
We know that language learning takes time, and some days feel really slow, but every time you show up to practice, you are moving forward. Just stay consistent, stay curious, and trust the process.
Please hit the like button first. It only takes 2 seconds and genuinely helps the channel reach more learners just like you. Then make sure to subscribe because new episodes come out every single week.
What is your absolute biggest fear or stressful habit when you are traveling at the airport? Share your answer or any English struggles you have in the comments below.
Thank you so much for spending your time with us today. Click on the next video on your screen right now to keep leveling up your English.